Farah Adila binti Hilis 255842, representing about the internal environment of Sunway Berhad. So Sunway Berhad have set their two objectives, which is firstly to achieve zero cases of corruptions, bribery and fraud, and also developing their global partnership. For the missions, they have set three missions. Firstly, empowering our people to deliver enhanced value to all stakeholders, and the second one is embracing sustainability in our business process and decisions. And lastly, to attracting and nurturing a talented and progressive workforce for the digital era. For the missions, Sunway Berhad want to be Asia's model corporations in sustainable development, innovating to enrich life for a better tomorrow.
Assalamualaikum, good afternoon. My name is Fatin Najwa and my matric number is 255463. Now we're going to look at the internal control framework for BOD. So the board of directors for Sunway Berhad plays an important role in managing the risk faced by the company. The BOD needs to ensure that the presence of internal control and risk management framework. They also need to understand the principal risks of the company's business and set up the risk appetite which will be implemented by the upper management of the company. So this is Sunway Berhad Board of Directors, and each of the board have their own roles and responsibility that carry out the company's vision, mission, and objective.
The other internal environment in Sunway Berhad that help in the implementations of risk management is the establishments of RMC and GRMD. So the main objective of RMC is to guide the BOD in making a proper decision in their risk management process and also monitor the implementations of the risk framework together with overseeing the risk identification report and mitigation process. While GRMD is a specific department on the operational level that responsible to give assurance to RMC and the BOD. GRMD has a responsible to review the consolidated risk report that contain all risks faced by the subsidiary and their mitigating control. So GRMD also will help Sunway subsidiary to identify, manage and mitigate their risk and will update the report to the CFO, the president and to RMC itself.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and good morning. We'll continue with the objective settings. So the first one, in order to keep sustainability and efficiency, and we berhak develop a build, own and operate BOO business model where assets are acquired, designed and built for the ownership of company. Then they set out the objective where zero case of corruption and bribery and fraud, whereby they emphasize a corporate governance framework. Then they also developing global partnership by corporate social responsibility, CSR initiative, event and launch. Then they also managing risk of corruption, bribery and fraud by set out code of conduct and business ethics.
So firstly is human capital risk. So human capital risk is talking about the company's investment in the human resource or employee. So for Sunway Berhad, they are facing issues on losing talent in the competitive market and also become a challenge for them to recruit new talented employee. The risk factor that influenced these risks to arise is there were human violations, bias and discriminations, and also no system that used to correct the human error. These risks have given a huge impact and have high potential and probability to occur within the Sunway. So what Sunway did is by providing training and development, emphasize reward system and also implement the culture of work in safety environment to reduce the human capital risk. This risk is discussing about the factors outside the business that will give impact. Sunway Berhad affected from the economic factors, which is currency fluctuations, intense competitions, and also the uncertainties of global economic situations. So what contribute to this factor is actually the changes of interest rate, wages rates, and rates of inflation. This risk will give a huge impact and also high probability of occurrence within Sunway. So how Sunway to reduce the risk is by sustain informalize and improve the business strategies and also enlarge integrated development, and lastly expand the job opportunity that will boost the economy. Operational risk can be defined as the inefficiencies of internal process that link with daily operational performance. The risk factor is there is lack of control in supervising, and also the person in charge did not have sufficient training. This risk will give a huge impact and also have the high probability of occurrence. Therefore, Sunway Berhad will respond by monitoring the group's exposure to potential legal obligations and minimize any adverse impact arising from non-compliance. And the last one is engage in discussions about necessary changes that need to be done.
The fourth risk faced by Sunway Berhad is technological disruption risk. This risk occurred due to the rapid technology advancements and lack of expertise in modern technology. So the probability for this risk to occur in Sunway is high and has a huge impact to them because Sunway depend on the use of technology in their daily operation, especially in construction subsidiary. So to manage this risk, Sunway always has their own initiative to explore a new technology by research and development and encourage their employees to participate in technological conference and training. Next is the construction risk. This risk is related to any loss due to the failure on the construction process and delay in the schedule. The main reason for this risk to occur is equipment failure, any absence of the employees, disruptions on supply timetable, and also the mismatch of the material quality. The construction risk has a huge impact and high possibility for Sunway. So in order to manage this risk, Sunway always find a way to improving supervisions at site to increase labor productivity, make sure that the readiness of document to apply for extension of time EOT with their customer, and try to implement BIM to reduce delay. The sixth risk faced by Sunway is environmental risk. This risk is the adverse impact of the company operations toward the natural environment. The main reason for this risk to occur is improper waste management and emissions of greenhouse gases. This risk has a huge impact to Sunway operation, but the probability of the occurrence is medium. So in order to manage this risk, Sunway take into considerations of climate change in developing their virtual design construction model, and the Sunway City is the proof that the company take environmental issue seriously. In Sunway City, they install elevated canopy walkway that is powered by solar, and they have their own water treatment plant.
The seventh risk is security risk, which it can be a work-related injury or to make the workplace secure from intruders, and it will result in the increase of the employee turnover. The risk factor is lack of implementation of modern physical access control system and maintenance and improvement of value system. So for the risk analyzing, it has a high impact, but the probability of occurrence is medium due to the unexpected event that could happen. So the Sunway Berhad is a risk taker, and for the risk response, they manage the risk by install proper security system and conduct security check from time to time. Next is reputational risk. Reputation is one of the Sunway's greatest assets, but the management might do an inadequate job of managing their reputation as they tend to focus their effort on coping with the challenges to their reputation that have already surfaced. The risk factor is delay in project delivery and fine on breach of rules and regulations. So for the risk analyzing, it has a high impact but low probability of occurrence because when the reputation is at risk, the management team from the top to the bottom, including the employees, will act quickly and responsibly with regards to the issue. Then for the risk response, they avoid the risk by monitor and control the activities and make sure that they always comply with the environmental regulations. Then we have fraud risk. It may involve illicit arrangement involving bribery from or collusion with other person, or may involve falsification of financial or other company's document. So the conflict of interest may arise for either party or ongoing or potential business dealing between Sunway Group or external parties as a gift. So it has a high impact but low probability of occurrence due to the implementation of Sunway Berhad's anti-bribery and corruption policy.
Okay, I will continue with the regulatory risk. For the risk identification is price of cost of operation, changes in the framework of an industry, and the strict legal obligation. So for the risk factor on regulatory risk, the enactment of new provision and policies where this risk has high impact, low probability of occurrence. So the Sunway is a risk taker for this risk. So in order to respond to the risk, the Sunway should avoid the risk by monitoring the group exposure to potential legal obligation, minimize any adverse impact arising from non-compliance, and then engage in discussion about necessary change. Next is the credit and liquidity risk. So for the risk identification is inability to recover debt timely and weak debt repayment policies. So this risk factor is declining cash flow, rising interest rate, or shift in the structure of the economy and low credit rating. So this risk has high impact and low probability of occurrence. And Sunway is a risk taker for this risk. In order to avoid this risk, Sunway should avoid the risk by monitor payment and deferred loans, employing rigid debt repayment policies, and proactively manage the interest rate and hedging strategies. So then, another risk is political risk. So the risk identification is changes in culture of the organization and influence of the business activity. For the risk factor on political risk is political disruption like political election. So this risk has medium impact and moderate probability of occurrence. So Sunway is a risk taker on political risk. So in order to respond on this risk, we should avoid the risk by investing in a country which rank low on such risk. Then you also can purchase political risk insurance.
Good morning, doctor. My name is Limington 254285. Now I will proceed for the part risk 13 physical risk. It is a risk that causes physical discomfort, illness, pain, or injury to human resources, and also threat to the business property, tangible assets. This was due to the improper planning for the business case in the aspect of risk assessments. The physical risk has high impact to the Sunway Berhad as it will be a failure to fulfill the code of conduct and business ethics, which will then lead a huge compensations of business to the customers or in repairing the buildings. However, the probability of occurrence for this risk is low, as Sunway Berhad had carried out a lot of sustainable activities to sustain the operation of the company for minimizing the risk. Sunway Berhad can consider to be the risk taker in avoiding the risk by implementing global positioning system and warehouse management systems, having the partnership with 17 UN SDGs in sustainable the consumption of land, water, and energy, and also practicing the corporate social responsibilities. Risk 14 is health risk, which is related to emotional, physical, and mental among the employees, and also the stressful working environment. This was mainly due to the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemics. Health risk has a medium impact on Sunway Berhad as it causes health concern issues and many operations of the company come to a halt. However, the probability of occurrence was low as the outbreak of disease is a country what seldomly happens. Sunway Berhad can consider as the risk taker by transferring the risk to government and also its employees. It follows the standard operating procedures set by the government and provide healthcare service to its employees. Some of the employees have a high self-awareness, involuntarily contribute their donations to the Sunway for Good Fund in supporting the aid of frontline healthcare workers and also helping the B40 communities in overcoming these tough periods. Risk 15 is the cyber and IT risk. This was related to major equipment failures that lead to interruptions and unavailability of IT services. This was mainly due to the time-gate connections on transferring the data by using the old equipments. These risks have medium impact on Sunway Berhad as cyber attacks can harm the progressions of business and unintentionally disclosure of sensitive business information. However, the probability of occurrence is low as Sunway Berhad has spotted the trend earlier on and carried out a lot of initiative in handling the risk. Sunway Berhad can then consider as risk taker by transferring the risk to IT Shared Service Center. It also implement the Sunway Information Security Releases together with Information Security Management System in order to reduce the time gap connections. Conclusively, risk assessments shall be carried on from identifying, analyzing, planning, and also monitoring in sustaining the business of company. That's all for our presentation. Thank you.